Ancient writing.
The main purpose of language is to communicate. We use language to share information. For example, we can give someone a warning, or we can recite a poem. We use language to share information in two ways. The first way is to speak to one another. We call this spoken language. Humans have been speaking to one another for thousands of years. We do not know exactly when humans started to talk. To communicate by speaking, humans must either be with one another or record their speech for others to hear.
Another way to communicate is by writing. We call this written language. We know when humans first started to write. You are going to read the story of how humans started writing. Writing began over 5,000 years ago. A group of people called Sumerians lived where Iraq is today. They were the first humans to use a writing system.
Sumerian cuneiform alphabet. How do you write? You probably think of using letters to make words. But early writing used pictures called pictographs to represent objects. For example, a Sumerian could write about his goats by using the pictograph for goat. Sumerians started to mix pictographs. They used more than one pictograph to show an idea. For example, they mixed the pictographs for bowl and head to make a new symbol. The new symbol means eat. In this way, early writing grew to become a script. A script is a group of letters or symbols that can be used together to make words. The script was called cuneiform. People read cuneiform script from left to right. This is how we read English.
Sumerians did not have paper and pencils. They used different tools for writing. For paper, they used soft clay tablets. For pencils, they used a type of grass called reed. They cut a piece of reed called a stylus. A stylus made a wedge shape when a Sumerian pressed it into the soft clay tablet. Scribes were people who could read and write. Learning to write cuneiform script took a long time. Not everyone got to learn how to write. The children who learned worked very hard. They went to school for a long time. Scribes also learned how to make the tablets and styluses. They were sent around the region to record language. They wrote about daily life. They wrote stories that people told. The stories might have been forgotten without scribes.
Another kind of early writing, called hieroglyphs, began in Egypt. Like pictographs, hieroglyphs are pictures. Some hieroglyphs are a single letter. For example, a picture of a lower leg with a foot stands for the sound of the letter B. Some hieroglyphs represent an object or an idea. This is also like pictographs.
Egyptians used hieroglyphs to make words, but people read hieroglyphs in different directions. Sometimes they read from right to left. Sometimes they read left to right. And sometimes people read hieroglyphs from top to bottom. Hieroglyphs were often carved into temples. They were also carved on statues or on special objects. Important people wrote their names. They wrote their names inside an oval shape. Ordinary people did not write hieroglyphs.
It was hard to write hieroglyphs. Egyptian scribes had to draw hieroglyphs very carefully. The symbols looked the same all the time. Scribes started to learn when they were 9 years old. They finished learning when they were about 14 years old. It was difficult training, but scribes had good jobs. Egyptian scribes painted hieroglyphs in temples and on statues. They used brushes. They wrote on other things too. They made a kind of paper from a plant called papyrus.
Workers followed 3 steps to make paper from papyrus. First, workers got material from the plant. The plant had a bushy top and long stem. The workers cut down the plant and took the stem. They peeled away the outer part of the stem. They cut the inside of the stem into strips. In the second step, workers made a sheet of paper. They put strips of stem down on a board. They put another layer of strips on top and covered the strips with a towel. They put heavy objects on the towel. Finally, workers pounded the strips of stem. The stems were juicy and gluey. They pounded the strips to help them stick together. The paper was ready after it dried. It took a week or 2. Then scribes wrote on it.
Written language is over 5,000 years old. We use it to share information. We can write about anything. We can put ideas on paper, and they can stay there long after we are gone. The Sumerians were the first to do this. They used pictographs. Then the pictographs changed into a script. The Egyptians also used an early writing system. They used hieroglyphs to make words. They also made the first kind of paper. The next time you write something, imagine you are a scribe.
Discuss. What are the key details you learn about scribes in this text?